Welcome to a course in Help Me! Called A Course in Miracles. Oh, Lord have mercy. I want to welcome all those online that are watching on Facebook Live. This is Earl Purdy. We're doing A Course in Miracles. And today we're going to talk about how is healing accomplished. How is it accomplished? How is a healing in that situation that you're in? How is a healing accomplished? That's what we're going to cover from the Course in Miracles today, which I think is a worthwhile subject. How is my happiness accomplished? How is the love accomplished? Is that a worthwhile topic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So don't forget, if you're watching live, you can comment, you can ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions. And also, you can talk to each other, which is also a lot of fun. And I love this stuff. I love the Course in Miracles. And it's on page 17 in the teacher's manual, in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the Course in Miracles. So I'm going to jump right in here today. I need it. And I'm going to give you some of the Course in Miracles definitions for these words, because I think it'll be really helpful and it'll make it much more powerful and much more meaningful, which is the Course in Miracles defines healing as the undoing of fear. That healing is the undoing of fear. Whatever you're experiencing on a physical level is just the effect of an idea. And the idea is some fearful idea. So the Course in Miracles is saying that how is the end of fear accomplished? How is healing accomplished? And so he says the first thing you have to do, he says healing involves an understanding of what the illusion of sickness is for. So the Course in Miracles defines sickness as non-right-mindedness. So when it talks about sickness, it's not just talking about something that you would be going through physically. It's talking about non-right-mindedness. If your mind is insane, the Course calls that sick. So it really defines sickness as being more of the mind than of the body, and that the body is just acting out what's going on in the mind. Which is the basic principle of metaphysics, is that your thought is creative and that you are the creator of your experience, and you're the one that's drawing the things to you that's happening to you through your vibration, through your consciousness, through your feelings, because you are a creator. And you're a child of God, which means you are a creator. And as a creator, you have the ability to create. So it's telling us that we are creating our reality. And so what we want to understand is what we are creating at our level is the perception of our reality also. So what I'm really in charge of right now is how I'm perceiving. So the Course in Miracles is saying, before you can have happiness, you have to understand why you're putting yourself through so many changes. Why you're going through so much. So if there's anything that you're going through right now, it's impossible to have any kind of healing unless you understand what you're putting yourself through it for. In whatever situation you're dealing with in your life right now that may not be giving you peace, the most important thing that you should do right now is understand what you are going through it for. Then it says the perceived purpose of sickness. What is the perceived? Okay, it goes, okay, well, at first I need to understand what am I putting myself through this for? So the next paragraph is going to talk about what the perceived purpose of it is. So the perceived purpose of sickness, the perceived purpose of non-right-mindedness, it says healing is accomplished when? The instant the sufferer no longer sees any value in pain. So as soon as I don't see any value in what I'm going through, that will end it. As soon as I don't see any value in lack, I won't have any. See, as soon as I see no value in sickness, I won't have any. As soon as I see no value in going through relationships that are full of conflict or dissatisfaction in my perception, then that's when the healing is going to be accomplished. Healing is accomplished the instant the sufferer no longer sees any value in pain. Okay, so who would choose suffering unless they thought it brought them something and something of value to them? So who would choose suffering unless they thought it was, why would I choose this unless I thought it was bringing something to me that I value? Why would I be going through this? Why would I keep myself in a situation unless I thought there was something valuable about that situation or circumstance or relationship? And the Course says, And whoever is suffering must think the suffering that they're going through is a small price to pay for something of greater worth. I'm suffering right now, but that's a small price to pay, because if I go through this suffering, I'm going to get something that's even greater payoff for me. So whatever the suffering is, I believe the suffering is worth it, because it's going to bring me something that's a greater payoff than the suffering. Now, remember, the Course in Miracles says we don't have to accept it, welcome it, or believe it. What we're doing is allowing ourselves to what? Hear it. We're letting ourselves hear it. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to make you change your mind. What I'm doing is sharing what the Course in Miracles is saying. That's what I'm doing right now. So the Course in Miracles is saying to me, Purdy, whatever you think you're going through right now that's making you want to take a few people out, you need to understand what you're going through that for. Healing is impossible unless you have some idea why you're going through this illusion of sickness. And Purdy, guess what? You're going to have a healing in this situation as soon as you no longer see the value in going through this situation and going through this pain. And I must have chosen it because I'm not a victim of the world I see. So at some level, at the very least, I'm choosing the way I see it. Maybe if I'm not up to getting to the point I can own that I created it, I am to the point I can own I'm creating the way that I see it. Okay, so therefore, if I keep on seeing it the way I'm seeing it, it must be giving me some kind of payoff. That's why I'm insisting on keeping the perception that I have of this situation or this person or this relationship or whatever's causing me conflict right now. If I'm insisting on still keep on seeing it that way, it means that I'm getting some kind of payoff that is so good for me that I think what I'm going through in this situation is a small price to pay for something of much greater value that's going to come to me. Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then it says a really deep sentence. It says, "For sickness is an election." Oh, you elected it. You went to the polls, right? Sickness. I wanted health or sickness. Feeling sane or feeling insane, love or fear. Which one do I want to elect? Well, we already know from who's in office now. Okay, so we know which one we chose. Okay, by the way you feel, right? So some people feel good about it, some people don't. So it's still the same rule still applies, right? So the Course in Miracles says sickness is an election, which means what? It's a decision. So non-right-mindedness is a decision. Feeling fear is a decision. Staying in conflict is a decision. Staying in lack is a decision. Not enjoying yourself is a decision. Not having peace is a decision. It's an election. And it is the choice of weakness in the mistaken conviction that weakness is strength. And so therefore, if I see an advantage in what I'm going through right now, then real strength would be seen as a threat and health would be seen as danger. If I think it's some advantage to me always being in fear and conflict, then there's going to be a part of me that's afraid of love and peace. So some people get more nervous when things are going good for them than when things are going bad. Have you ever done that? Like, things went good for so long that you were on a roll, and then a part of you started to feel nervous about it, like what was going to happen to make you lose it. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that sense, because see, if I'm already disappointed, miserable, and sad, I don't have to worry about nothing making me miserable, disappointed, and sad. I got it covered. You know what I'm saying? How could I be disappointed when I'm already disappointed? So therefore, if I look for the negative and the fearful to happen, then I'm just pleasantly surprised when something good happens.
Yeah.
Right, so I can handle that. You know what I'm saying? So it seems much more realistic to my fearful mind to be doubtful and suspicious, then maybe occasionally have somebody thrill me, than for me to be looking for the best out of everybody and get constantly disappointed. So the Course in Miracles says that when you are in the habit of looking at strength and power as something that's not really good for you or doesn't apply to you, then there's a part of you that sees strength as a threat and health as danger. Now, I'm going to stop right there on that particular paragraph. And, actually, I'm going to read something to you that's going to sound like Japanese, Chinese, and Korean all mixed up in one. Okay? Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You know, watch this. It's going to be English. And I see who understands. I'm about to say English, and you're going to go, he didn't just speak English to me. Okay, here we go. All right. Sickness is a method conceived in madness for placing God's Son on his Father's throne. God is seen as outside, fierce and powerful, eager to keep all power for himself. So only by God's death can God be conquered by his son. And what in this insane conviction does healing stand for? Well, healing symbolizes the defeat of you, the child of God, and the triumph of your Father, Creator, over you. So your healing represents the ultimate defiance in the direct form in which you, the child of God, is forced to recognize. Your healing happiness stands for all that you would hide from yourself to protect your little life. So if you are healed, then it means you're the one that's responsible for your thoughts. And if you're responsible for your thoughts, you will be killed to prove to you just how weak and pitiful you are. But if you choose death yourself, your weakness is your strength, because now you've given yourself the death that God would give to you. And so you usurp the throne of God because God wanted to get you, but you got you first. And that was your defiance. Have a nice day.
So I'm sick to kill God.
Well, the thing is, look, I tell you that you can be happy. You say, no, I can't. That's all it's basically saying. Spirit is saying you could be happy, you could be loved, you could have the ultimate kind of life. And you're going, no, I can't, no, I can't, no, I can't. So my defiance is refusing to have the joy and the love that's my divine right. That's me being defiant. That's how insane I am. That I defy God by keeping myself unhappy. I defy love by keeping myself in fear. I defy abundance by keeping myself in lack. That's me being rebellious. That's my version of rebelling against my parents. I remember, my children went through a rebellion when they were teenagers, but they were fundamentalist born-again Christians. So I was way out New Age metaphysical, counterculture, unconventional dad. So they rebelled against me. They decided they wouldn't dance. They decided they wouldn't celebrate Christmas. They decided they wouldn't do any kind of drugs. They gave me what's the declaration that you're going to be a virgin until you get married. They really punished me. I had the smoothest experience with my children as teenagers of all my friends. They was like, where's my kid at? My God. And mine is like, their head is in the Bible and they don't want to think about sex. So who suffered? But they were defying me. And that's kind of the way I'm hearing this. It's like we're defying love by keeping ourselves going through a lot of needless changes to prove that what I think about myself and my life and what's going on is truer than God. My Creator says I could have total joy. Look at my relationship. Look how I wasn't loved. Look at my story. Listen to my story. Listen to my story. See, I'm constantly putting my story before what the Creator is saying that's us. This book is saying that's us rebelling. That we're rebelling. The truth says you have an eternal life. No, I'm not. That's a bunch of crock. You're innocent and totally sinless. No, I'm not. You don't know what I did prom night. You know what I'm saying? It's like we are always unconsciously actually defying the loving thoughts. So when I said that and when I shared that, who would care to share some of the things that they realized to say to themselves while they were hearing this? Megan.
I really like how it keeps using the word, like, what would healing stand for in that case?
Mm-hmm.
And when it talks about seeing God as this outside fierce force that would like to keep all the power for himself, basically. And so it's this idea that I'm so separate from, and that there's this like all-powerful God that just like forces us to suffer, and that it's to protect my like little life. So I'm being offered abundance, I'm being offered healing. It already exists, it's already there. But I would like separate myself from it so that I can keep this idea of ego, so I can stay in fear, so I can stay separate. Like, wow, have you been living with me this week?
I'm sure Jesus would love to. Okay. I'm going through, yes. That is so true, by the way. I want to respond to that. That's exactly another way of saying exactly what I said. That's why I love it. So many ways to approach it. It's like I'm rebelling by not letting myself have what I want and what I deserve.
This is as timely as ever, because I just went through this whole process of realizing how insane I was because of this exact same thing, where I'm going, I feel like I should be punished and I'll get my reward later. And And then I woke up in the middle of the night and going, I'm a crazy person. I know what would work for me, and I want to do the exact opposite.
That's right.
So, because I don't feel like I'm worthy of God's love, so I actually found solace in realizing I was crazy. Because I used to say to myself, I'm the only sane person in the asylum. And I realized, no, I'm running the asylum.
This whole planet is an asylum.
Yes.
That's why, as far as we look out into outer space, we don't see any signs of intelligent life. They're smart enough to stay as far away from us as they possibly can. Then they put us on a planet by ourselves until we get our act together. You know, I've said this in many classes. Aliens are not abducting people; they're dropping them off. Okay, the aliens are not. No self-respecting, higher intelligence would come and take humans back to their world. When you see what humans are doing to their own world. That's just like how you don't go out with certain people because you think they really out of their mind, but you don't attack them. You just avoid them. Mm-hmm. That's what's us. That's us. That's why we don't see nobody. It's not a far-fetched idea if you think about it. It's really that. So I'm with you, buddy. Yes.
So a couple of online statements. John says, I no longer choose to be that rebellious child anymore. I choose to allow love to allow God to lead my life.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's such an important point. You hit me recently, too, because I rebelled against the world from the day I was born. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it hit me, wait a minute, Purdy, you was rebelling against fear and separation and division that the world taught. That was good that you rebelled against the untrue beliefs and values you were taught from the world. But now you have a thought system that's based on love and truth and caring and sharing, and you're hearing that your Creator loves you and supports you. You don't have to rebel anymore. Obey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all of a sudden I went, oh, I don't have to I don't have to be a rebel. I can obey. These rules are the kind of rules I want to live by. And that made all the difference in my life from that point on.
And then Marlette says, I always get very suspicious when things seem so peaceful for a period of time that I have this belief that something bad would happen whenever I feel truly peaceful, like the calm before the storm. Glad I'm here now.
I'm glad you're here now. And don't forget, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now, we're perfectly safe. We're perfectly safe. We're perfectly safe. Right here, right now. So that means any fear or unhappiness that you are experiencing right now, it's because you're thinking about the future. Mm-hmm. Or you're thinking about something from the past. If you're not feeling good right now, if you're not feeling safe and peaceful right now, you're telling yourself a story. You're telling yourself a story because the fact is you're sitting here in the room totally safe. That's the fact. The rest of it is your story. The rest of it is your story. You love yourself so much you gave yourself. There's a lot of people in the world that's not experiencing this peace we're experiencing right now. Mm-hmm. You love yourself so much that you gave yourself this experience. And if you're not enjoying it, if you don't feel peace in it, you're thinking about the past or you're thinking about the future. You're thinking about the gone or you're thinking about the not yet. See, when you say it that way, it makes even more sense. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here thinking about the gone, and then I'm worried about the not yet. What? I'm worried about the not yet. When you want something in the future, you're saying, I want it in the not yet. I want love in the future. I want love in the not yet. I want abundance in 6 months. No, I want abundance in not yet. Stop asking for stuff in the not yet. That's what you call Russian interference. Not yet. That's Russian. Get it? Not yet. Anyway. You see, you stop listening to my jokes when you no longer see any value in pain. Somebody else. I saw a hand. Somebody else.
There's a couple of people in my life who have been embodying this lesson quite a bit. You know, they appear to be just engulfed in this swirling cloud of chaos. Every time something starts to go right, something else comes whacks them back down. Mm-hmm. And I try to give them advice, but lately I've come to the idea that I can't stop them from pushing away from any kind of joy. The best thing I can do is just keep on reminding them that they don't have to be doing it.
Yeah.
And whenever they're ready, they can stop.
That's right. The Course in Miracles says when you get upset with somebody else for still solving their problems the way that you used to, That's why you're getting upset.
Yeah.
Because they're reminding you of what you've done so many times. You know. I love how the Course in Miracles says stuff like you said, you know, swirling tornadoes of madness. You know, it's like you just said regular madness. Y'all got swirling tornado level madness. Okay, so now let's go further. You open? Receptive?
Yeah.
Okay, so and also just ask yourself, what is it that I'm valuing so much that I keep putting myself through this? You don't have to know the answer. You don't have to try to come up with the answer. What you want to do is ask yourself the question. Start asking yourself, what is the payoff I'm getting out of this? Whatever that situation is, what is the payoff I'm getting out of this? What is the payoff? Just ask the universe. The universe will reveal it to you. You don't have to figure it out, okay? This is such a good section. The shift in perception. So it's, okay, now it's going to tell us how healing occurs. Ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Healing must occur. How? Must occur. When? In exact proportion to which the valuelessness of sickness is recognized. One need but say, there is no gain at all to me in this, and he's healed. But to say there is what? No gain at all to me in this, one must first recognize certain facts. Okay, before you can say there's no gain at all to me in this, so you can be healed, then you must recognize certain facts. First, it's obvious that decisions are of the mind and not of the body. It's not your body that's making any decisions about what you're going through. It's not your body. And the Course in Miracles also defines your perception as body. So you can also go, decisions are of the mind, not of perceptions. The way you see things come after the decision you've made about how you want to see things. So how you see things is actually an effect. It's not a cause. You see things after you've decided to see things that way. So it's never your perception that's making any decisions. It's not your body that's making your decision. So if sickness is but a faulty problem-solving approach, not right-mindedness is just a faulty problem-solving approach, then sickness is a decision. And if it's a decision, it says it's the mind and not the body that makes it. If it's a decision, it's the mind and not the body that makes it. The resistance to recognizing this, recognizing what? It's your mind and not your body that's determining what you're going through. It's your mind that's determining what you're going through. It's your mind that's determining what you're going through. It's the decisions of your mind that's determining what you're going through. It's the decisions of your mind that's determining what you're going through. The resistance to recognizing this is enormous. The resistance to telling people that they're the one that's creating what they're going through right now, that they're the ones that's calling it to themselves, that what they're experiencing is a result of their own decisions, that your mama didn't do it to you and your daddy didn't either, that nobody did it to you. The resistance to people hearing that is enormous, right? And then the Course says, why? Because the existence of the world as you perceive the world depends on the body, the outside situations, your perception being the decision maker. If the world as I see if I see myself as a victim going through something that's painful that I don't want to go through, I built a whole world around that perception. And so that world as I have built it, because I spent my whole life thinking that I'm a victim in some way, guilty in some way, separate in some way, then if I was to really get that I'm going through what I'm going through right now because of decisions I'm making about how I'm going to see things, then that destroys my whole world as I've made it. If I build my whole world on being a victim of everything that's happening to me, and you tell me that it's my mind and my consciousness that's creating the way I'm experiencing and seeing things, then you just blew my whole world. So the existence of my world as I see it depends on me not being the creator of what I'm going through right now. Wow. Wow. So then it goes even further. It says, terms like instincts, reflexes, and the like represent attempts to endow the body with non-mental motivators. Saying that I just can't help it, that's trying to endow my body with a non-mental motivator. I'm saying that my body can do things that has nothing to do with my mind. So there's still another way of me saying the way that I feel has nothing to do with me. The way that I feel has nothing to do with me. The way that I feel has nothing to do. Don't you remember a time in your life when you used to feel like a part of you felt like you should be able to, like if you were sick, a part of you would feel like, I ought to just be able to say, stop it. And the sickness would be gone. Or that you ought to have more control over your emotions. Like I would feel like I just shouldn't just get upset. Like I don't have anything to do with that. Because it looked like my feelings were out of my control. And the Course in Miracles is saying that's the mistake we make. We think something is happening that it's not a result of our own consciousness. And then the Course in Miracles says we make decisions all the time. Then we make the decision to forget we made the decision. He says we make decisions, then we forget that we make the decision to make the. We forget we made the decision to go through what we're going through, so it can look like what we're going through has nothing to do with us. I'll say that again.
Yep.
The Course in Miracles says we make decisions and then decide to forget we made the decision, so that it can look like it's happening to us when we want to punish ourselves. Because it seems completely insane to cause pain to yourself. Right? It seems crazy to think you would want to hurt yourself. But it's not a way out concept if you don't love yourself completely. If you don't love yourself completely, it's not a way out concept that you could be self-sabotaging. But it does seem crazy that I would stab myself, so I got to look like you the one that did it. In other words, if I'm gonna hurt myself and I think I'm halfway sane, then I got to forget I made the decision to hurt myself, so it can look like something outside of me is doing it. Then I can keep on blaming that thing outside of me and keep the punishment going, because as long as I think it's being caused by something outside of myself, the pain will never go away. So how can you tell when a person's tired of suffering? The way you can tell when a person's tired of suffering is they'll start taking responsibility for their experience. Somebody that's not ready to take responsibility for their experience is a person that still wants to continue the suffering that they're going through. So that's how you can tell when you're ready to stop suffering in any area of your life. You will be owning the part you play in your experience of it. If you're still saying that it has nothing to do with me, that's the same as saying I still want to keep going through this. Wow.
Yeah.
So the Course in Miracles says that non-mental motivators, actually such terms as instincts and reflexes and the like, they state or describe their problem, but they don't answer the problem. Okay, what was something that came up in anybody's mind when they heard that one? Okay.
I instantly went to a question, and that
Okay.
would be, what would the world be like if for just one instant, we truly acknowledge that it's our mind that has created the insanity we see?
If we did that for a second, the world would be healed in that second. It would be the end of every... Separation is the cause of every problem that we're looking at. Every problem you see in the world is based on the idea we are different and we are separate and we have different needs. I don't care if you're black, white, young, old, your culture, everybody this morning wanted something to eat. They wanted food, they wanted clothing, they wanted shelter. They want their dreams to come true. They want their families to be safe. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We are all exactly the same. I don't and see, that's how I first realized I was in a totally insane part of my mind. Because even as a child, I thought the stupidest, most ignorant part of my mind was always the part of my mind that was racist. Mm-hmm. I always thought nobody was more stupid to me than a racist person. You're going to tell me you're not going to like me because of the color of my skin. You have not said a word to me. You don't know nothing about me. We haven't had a conversation. Just because I have brown skin, you hate me. And you think I'm less than. How ignorant. But also, the interesting part about it is the Course says the one feeling and emotion that's underlying all the pain in the world is the desire for specialness. So if I can so that makes you better than me, that satisfies your need to be special. You know, and so that's very interesting and so that's separation. That's me seeing you as different from me. And the Course in Miracles is saying, and every truth book says, that's our problem. We think we're not the same. We think we're not joined. We think we're not connected. And that's not the same as saying I don't enjoy my African-American heritage or the things that I learned through having that experience, or that I wouldn't want to hear about the things that you have experienced pretending that you are different from me. So you don't have to say to me, I haven't noticed that you have a black body. That means you're not racist. I don't have a shame about it. So it's nothing about it that you have to pretend that you don't see. We just must not be fooled by the appearance of differences. Then it's fun to be here with everybody that looks like they're different, especially when you let them be the way they are. You know, so I look forward to you telling me what's it like to grow up as a white person, or a woman, or an Italian, or a Mexican. See, to me, that's a turn on. I'd love to hear about people's different life experience and cultures where it's because I know behind that is God. Behind that is me. That I'm listening to an experience that another part of myself is having. That's the way I look at it. You know, this is what I look like as women. You see, this is what I look like as men. This is what I look like as a chair, by the way. And this is what I look like as a, because it's all you. It's not just a human part. When it says we're one with everything, this is just one whatever it is. Have you ever had a dream? And in that dream, there were streets and cars and houses and people. And they looked like they were doing their own thing. And then you wake up and you go, oh, that was a dream. That was in my mind, right? Then that meant your mind was the houses, the trees, the cars, the people. Everything was your mind. This is the same way. This is just another form of the exact same dream you have at night. And you don't know it. Because now you're having the dream that you are awake. Now you're having what is called the waking dream. You're still asleep, but now you're dreaming that you're awake in the class. And just like you forgot the dream you had last night, you're going to forget this one when you wake up to the next one. This thing you think is so important. Do you remember what you dreamed about 2 weeks ago? Nah, you didn't remember this one either. So you just well enjoy it and stop taking it so seriously. You're going to forget ever being who you think you are right now, because who you are is so much greater. You know, so the part of you that thinks you are this, it's doing everything in its power to draw your attention to this, to make you think you are this. I understand that. Temporary Earl, he's tripping, because temporary Earl knows his days are numbered. Temporary Earl, I only get a chance to do Earl Purdy once. Then I'm going to be on to expressing myself some other kind of way. So I can understand Earl Purdy kind of going, oh, Lord, I just had another birthday. I can kind of understand him saying that. Because he's an illusion. How do I know he's an illusion? Because there's many different Earls as there are people looking at me. So Earl doesn't really exist. Earl is just an idea in your mind about who you think I am that you're making up. So you make an identity for me, and you make an identity for everybody in your life. We make up everybody's egos around us, and we make up our own. But nobody in this room knows me the way I look at me. Mm-hmm. You understand? So Earl Purdy is an illusion. That's deep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Peter.
So I'm trying to understand.
You trying to understand?
Excuse me. I'm trying to analyze.
Well, don't forget the first 4 letters are anal. Okay, anal.
Anal eyes.
Okay, anal lies. Get it? Anal lies.
So you were talking just now about us. You know, we're looking, and we don't see you as, you know, but that we are all different aspects.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, and that's, you know, hopefully in this room, just a very loving experience coming to you. Mm-hmm. So that's really positive. But then if there's an experience, you said...
Please talk louder now so everybody can
hear. You had said, when you own the part you play, when we're reading it.
Yeah.
So now I was thinking that, okay, so if this is a negative experience, quote unquote, you know, and I own the part I play, mm-hmm. Understanding that this video, dream I'm in maybe is there are other parts of this dream that are seeing something similar. Mm-hmm. So if I withdraw my belief in that, mm-hmm. then that's sort of like letting a little air out of the balloon and not worry about what other people are doing.
Exactly.
And then as each person withdraws themselves, mm-hmm. the belief in the thing that everybody's putting their belief in, until there's nobody believing in it anymore, that it just
it is like letting the air out of the balloon when you don't invest in it. Mm-hmm. As soon as you don't believe something anymore, that's the end of that illusion, right? You know what I'm saying? If I believed I was Elvis Presley, right. And then all of a sudden they convinced me I wasn't, then that illusion ends instantly. It doesn't end 6 months from now. I'm not Elvis. Poof, that illusion is gone. So every time you don't invest in some thought, feeling, emotion, and belief that brings you any kind of pain or conflict, then you are getting rid of that illusion in your perception. It's the constant investment in it that keeps it going.
Right, and then as other people let go of that illusion, until then it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't ever be hate.
Right, because we have to realize God didn't make a voice. The Course says God didn't make a voice for us alone. It's not like love made a voice just for you. Spirit made, everybody in here has guidance. Everybody here is doing an internal evolutionary awakening. But if I could really get to the dream analogy, if I could understand it's just one mind, then any one of us, see, I don't know how to break this to you. This may mess with your heads, all of y'all, but I'm going to say it anyway, okay? All of creation is waiting for you. You're the last one. Soon as you change your mind, everybody's going to change their mind. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Because everybody's sitting around waiting for everybody because they don't know they're the one that's holding everything up. When you change your mind, and you won't know this is true or not true until you do it. When you accept the truth completely for yourself, the whole world will change. It's on you. You're the last one. Like, I love it when people go, well, when I die, then I'm going to leave all these people behind me, who's still carrying on. Nope. When you die, everything ends with you. Because it was your dream. See, you're just having a dream that there was a past before you got here. You believe that there was something here before you got here because that's the kind of dream you created. You created a dream that looked like it had a history. Don't try to understand it, your brain will explode, okay? I just want to introduce ideas that you know in your core. Everybody in here knows that they're the one that has to get it. And since it's just one mind, which makes sense, if there's just one mind, then you're the only one that needs to get it. And everybody's got it. Suppose everybody's already got it. And you just realizing you already got it too. It's possible that all of this is over. We're back in heaven in reality where we came from. And all you're doing is reviewing what you went through before you woke up. Mm-hmm. Sort of like coming home at the end of the day, sitting in your lounge chair, then reviewing the events of the day from your lounge chair. And that's what you're doing. You've already made it back to sanity, back to love, back to oneness. You've already done it. Seeing what you are now seeing what you went through to get there. Mm-hmm. Well, part of what you went through to wake up was to come to a class by a guy named Earl Purdy. And whatever you're going to do the rest of the day, that was part of what you did to wake up. And if you believe that, you'd have a lot more peace about the rest of the day. Because you already know how the movie's going to end. You came in at the end of the movie. At the end of the movie, it said, and they lived happily ever after. Okay, then you sit there, because you came in late, and you sit there, and then you wait till the movie starts all over to see how they got to the point that they said, everything they lived happily ever after. So that's what you're doing. You're seeing what you went through to go, oh, I'm living happily ever after. You went through whatever you've gone through to get there. And everything you've gone through was part of that journey. And it was blessed. And that's how I should look at my past. As if my past was for my own best interest. Wow. But I think one of the deep statements that this said, this next paragraph. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't let my subject matter get in the way of what I have to say. Okay. The acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind, the acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind for a purpose for which the mind would use the body is the basis of healing. Bam. Okay, wait a minute. That sentence says this is the basis of healing. What did it just say? It says if you would accept that every time you're unhappy or sick, it was a decision you made for a purpose that you're using your body for, then you would be healed. So in order to be healed, I'm going to accept that everything that's non-right-minded, this sickness, that's fearful that I go through, is a decision that I've made for a purpose that I'm using my body for. And I'm not going to argue with that. I'm no longer rebellious. Okay, so if I want to be healed, if I want to be happy, then I need to recognize that whatever I'm unhappy right now, however I'm seeing that right now, that's a decision of my mind for a purpose that I'm using my life and my body and myself right now. And what's the next What does it say? And this is so for healing in all forms. I don't care what kind of healing you're talking about. All you have to say is, I'm experiencing this as a decision of my mind. I'm experiencing this as a decision of my mind. How I'm experiencing this as a decision of my mind. How I'm seeing this as a decision of my mind. How I'm experiencing my financial situation right now is a decision of my mind. How I'm experiencing my relationships right now is a decision of my mind. How I'm experiencing my job, my boss, my friends, my family, my co-workers, the world is a decision of my mind. And if I was to accept that it was a decision of my mind for a purpose that I'm using my body, I would be healed. My fear would end because I would no longer see myself as a victim of it, and I know that I have something to say about how I experience it. The Course in Miracles calls us a very high term. It calls us a patient. It says the patient decides that this is so. What is so? That what I'm going through right now is a decision of my mind for the purpose I'm going to use my body. And what happens? The patient does what? Recovers. So every time you say what I'm going through and how I'm experiencing it right now is a decision of my mind, you're healing. Every time you say this is a decision of my mind, how I'm experiencing this right now. Every time you say that, you're experiencing the healing. He says, but what if the person decides against recovery? What if a person decides, I love the Course, it's really deep. Well, they won't be healed. What? Well, they won't be happy. If they don't finally say it's happening because of the decision of their mind, they won't be healed. He says, but who is the physician? That's a great question. So who's the physician? Well, only the mind. Whose mind? The mind of the patient. So you're the physician and you're the patient. Do you hear me? You're the physician. What kind of doctor are you? Are you a quack? Do we have some quacks in here? You know. So how do I know when I'm not being a physician? And how do I know when I'm not ready to be healed? I'll be saying this one little thing. It's your fault.
Your fault.
Okay, what will I say? It's your fault. I'll be blaming somebody else. Oh, what is the area that I don't want to have prosperity and abundance? Oh, I'm blaming my lack of prosperity and abundance on the stock market, the economy, my sex, my race, the fact I live in debt. See, if I come up with any reason other than it's a decision of my mind how I'm seeing this, then I don't want that area healed.
That's right.
So I know the areas of my life I don't want healed. They're the areas, you want to know what the areas are? They're the areas where you still have grievances. They're the areas where you still haven't forgiven. That's the area you still want to keep going the way that it is. Okay, now you know. Is that clear? Okay, everybody clear? Everybody know the area that they still want to keep suffering in right now? All right. Then the Course in Miracles says, only the mind of the patient himself. So what does that mean? Well, it means the outcome is what you decide that it is. So the outcome is going to be the way you want it to be. What? Special agents. Special agents seems to be ministering to you. What's a special agent? Anything I do in the outer world to try to make things better. I'll say it again. Special agents are any external healing methods that you use, from medicine to exercise to diet to anything you're doing going to school, anything that you're doing to help you heal in any area from the outer is a special agent. And so special agents seem to be ministering to you, yet really they're just giving form to your own choice. You choose the special agents or medicines or whatever you use in order to bring tangible form to your desires. I want to be a doctor. I go to college to bring a tangible form to that desire. I got a headache. I take an aspirin to make a tangible form to that desire. So everything that you do in the physical world, the Course says, is nothing but a special agent that you're ministering to yourself to give tangible form to your physical desire. So it's just a symbolic gesture to show you're willing to have what you're asking for. Because we have a tendency to talk stuff without backing it up. We're great at saying stuff that we don't do. So in a sense, the fact that I say I want to be a doctor and I go to college is a great symbolic gesture to show that I'm really willing to be a doctor. If I say I'm a Course in Miracles student and I read it, that's a great symbolic gesture to show that I'm a Course in Miracles student. Because you know us. You know what we'll do. We'll say stuff that we don't actually back up with any action. I mean, not you all, but some people do. I know you all don't. I can tell by your ecstatic ecstasy. So special agents, okay. Special agents seem to be ministering to you, but they just give form to what? Your own choice. So you choose the special agents. You choose I think I'm going to diet. Well, I think I'm going to exercise. I am going to jog. See, you choose the special agent. I like you. See, I'm also using you as a way to give form to some desire that I have. You understand? So special agents is not just how we use each other. You become my special agent. If I've decided I'm ready to experience love, I could try to choose you to bring tangible form to that desire, which is a challenge if you don't want to. And if I really don't believe I deserve it, I'm going to choose you. Right? That's how you can always tell when you don't want something. How? You choose somebody that doesn't want to give it to you. That's how you know you don't want it. What? You chose somebody who says no. That doesn't mean they don't want it. It means you don't want it from them. They're just giving tangible form to your desire not to have it. From them. Wow. Woo. I asked you to go out, you said, hell no. Well, so yeah, I feel about you. I didn't want to go out with you no way. That's what we said, though. I didn't want to go out with you no way. That's exactly true. I didn't want to go out with you no way. That's why I asked you. So you didn't reject me. You fulfill my wish. My desire. I didn't want to go out with you no way. So I'm not rejected. I'm protected. Rejection is protection. Rejection is protection and redirection. That's what rejection is. Now, I've been redirected a lot. All through high school. Son of a bitch. Oh. Want me to come to my high school reunion. Ha! I don't want you to see how successful I've been without you. I laugh more when I'm here than any other time in my life. I'm telling you. Other than that, I'm crying. I teach the course because I'm depressed. Okay. So, he says, so whatever you choose as a special agent, he says it gives form to your own choice. You choose them in order to what? Bring tangible form to your desires. And this they do. And what else? Nothing else. Everything in your life is just bringing you what you want, and that's all. Now, you don't really need the special agents. I don't really need you to feel love. I don't really need money to feel abundance. I don't really need anything outside of myself to feel good. Like I said, you don't actually need the special agents at all. The patient, you, I, could do what? Merely rise up without the aid of the special agents and say, I have no use for this. And there would be no forms of sickness that wouldn't be cured at once. There would be no forms of unhappiness that wouldn't be cured at once. There would be no forms of non-right-mindedness that wouldn't be cured at once if you were to say, I don't have any use for going through this over and over and over and over again. I have no more use for this. I have no more use for you. I have no more use for this. I have no more use for that. He says there is no form of sickness that wouldn't be cured at once. If you really said that and you really meant that, and so before I go to the next paragraph, any thoughts behind that?
That's hard to believe.
And quite startling. You all in total agreement, huh? Y'all all in total agreement that whatever you're going through right now that you don't like, you're going through it because you get some kind of payoff, and you're not ready to give that payoff up if it's your pattern.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the way I feel. I stay in suffering because that's where I'm comfortable.
Thank you. I don't have to, but if you say that you can't keep suffering, don't you understand that? You just took responsibility for your suffering. That means it's going to end in spite of your best efforts. Your life is going to improve, damn it. Oh, I'm sorry, Patricia. I'm sorry things are going to get better for you because you took responsibility for your suffering. And that blew it, babe. So you better enjoy your suffering while it lasts. Okay. Anybody else got something to say? Yes.
Yeah, I find that when I recognize what I'm doing and I'm suffering for it, and then I choose not to let go of it, I come up with some reason.
Okay.
That makes it even more intense, you know.
It makes it more intense when you say, I'm trying to seal it right in here. It makes you more intense because of
When
what?
I say that, okay, when I begin to accept the fact that I'm causing this,
Okay.
when I begin to see the pattern,
Okay.
and I still don't, sometimes I just feel like, well, why the F don't you just drop out of this? Why do you continue it anyway? I mean, that's
And now you know.
the payoff.
Yeah, that you're getting the payoff. And then what is the payoff? Well, the payoff is whatever I'm experiencing. So don't make it really deep. What's the payoff?
Right,
the
right.
payoff is I'm going through suffering right now. That's what I think I deserve right now. Right. That's my payoff. I'm getting what I think I'm supposed to go through in order to be okay again.
Yeah, and I,
Right.
you know, that's wedging its way into my brain finally. But,
Good.
you know, but then what comes after that is like, so,
But
if you're accepting that, why do you continue it? I mean, it's
But you just it's a circle. It's a circle. Why is this a circle? Oh, because I see some value in it. See, the answer, don't change the answer no matter, even if you're on the endless loop recorder. Well, then why am I doing that? Well, because I still see value in suffering. Well, why am I doing that? Well, because I still see value in suffering. Well, why am I doing that then? Because I still see value in suffering.
The thing is, every time I go around the circle, it gets more intense.
Yes, isn't that cool?
You know?
Because that means you're going to reach your limit. That means you're going to reach your limit, buddy. You're going to reach where you go, I have no more use for this. And you're going to mean it. And then you go, poof, that's the end of your pain.
Yeah, can you do it if you don't mean it? If you don't mean it? Sometimes
No, you can't do it if you don't
wanna
mean
do
it.
This, and then if I pull away, then I go like, I never really meant that to begin.
Well,
with.
you knew you didn't mean it when you said it.
Right.
Okay, so therefore you don't have to beat yourself up for not getting the result of what you didn't do in the first place. So don't complicate it. All you want to do is remember that if you're going through any suffering, it's because there's some value that you see in it. And then you could go, I have no more use for it, and it would be gone. Or you could say, I got this curriculum right now that I need to do that I think is going to help me get out of it, because that would be your special agent. That would be your symbolic gesture. Like coming to this class is your symbolic gesture to show that you're willing to give tangible form to your desire to be out of conflict. All the crackling papers and stuff, it's kind of, I can't concentrate because it's going to pick up. It's going to pick it up. And so it's going to be on the recording. It's crackle, 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 because it picks it up. So please hold off on the crackling paper, please. Okay, so you had your hand up first, then I'll go to you right after that.
I was just gonna say that, it's funny the types of things that I find value in, and so lately I've been trying to just really simplify it, and I have like even reminders set up on my phone that are just like, would I choose peace over this? Because no matter what time that alert hits me, it's likely that I might be choosing something else over peace at that moment, and so it's like, it gets as simple as like, would I choose peace over whatever it is that I'm finding value in, whether it's being a victim, whether it's wanting to achieve, whether it's trying to compare myself to others, whether it's trying to determine my value by being separate, all of those different things. It's like there is this, value, and if I make it really simple, it's like, do I value that over peace?
Mm-hmm.
Then usually I'm able to get to a place, or I can just be really honest with myself and be like, I guess I do value this right now over peace, and I can be guiltless around that too, and be like, well, I'm sure this can change.
There you go.
I
I want to be mad right now.
Yeah.
I like when you say, I'm upset with you, but I just want to be upset right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different thing than somebody saying, I really don't want to be upset, but I'm upset. No, I want to be upset.
Yeah.
That's much more empowering right now. I'll choose that over my peace right now. Thank you.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
really important for us to recognize that we see the proof of this statement in all of our lives every day. It's very easy to look at this and think of it as the magical statement that if I just said, I'm really tired of all of this, and I took all the whole ball of wax of everything that's screwy and crazy and chaotic in life and in the world, and say, I'm done with this, and then magically everything will get better. But we do this every day. When we decide, I'm no longer going to whine, and we stop whining. When we decide, I'm no longer going to have a financial problem, and we stop having a financial problem. We actually do pieces of this. And so the ego's big trick is to say, well, you can't be doing this, because if you did it and really meant it, the whole world would be cured.
That's right.
And so since the whole world's not cured, you obviously don't get it. So feel guilty and let's go back into this cycle. But the reality is that we do it layer by layer every day.
Yes.
And we need to acknowledge that.
And we need to acknowledge that. Every if you just take responsibility 3 times a day, and that's more than you've ever taken it before, that's good.
That's right.
Always acknowledge yourself for the little that you're doing, because the Course says it only requires a little bit from us, and we're pretty good at doing that. So this book was made for us. So I'm going to finish this prayer. Okay, here we go. Okay, so are you ready to be cured at once? Okay, it says, well, what is the single requisite for this shift in perception? Well, it's simply this. The recognition, again, what? The sicknesses of the mind, the unhappinesses of the mind, the non-right-mindedness of the mind, and has what? Nothing to do with the body. It has nothing to do with the body. Your sickness has nothing to do with the body. What does this recognition that your sickness is coming from your mind cause? It says it again. It's going to cause what? The world you see. Why? Because the world will never again appear to rule your mind. You realize that no matter what's happening in the world, it doesn't have to affect the way you see things. No matter what's going on outside you, it doesn't have to control how you see things. He says, for with this recognition, what recognition? That everything that I'm experiencing is coming from my own mind, responsibility is placed where responsibility belongs. Not with the world, but on you, who's looking at the world and seeing it as it's not, which is, it's not what's causing your pain. In other words, you know you are looking at what you choose to see, and no more and no less. What does that mean? Well, it means the world isn't doing anything to you. The world does nothing to you. The world does nothing to you. The false perceptions of the world. Don't forget, the Course in Miracles is always talking about, first and foremost, perception. It's talking about perception. You aren't making me see you any certain way. So how I see you is up to me. So the Course is talking about perception. What you look on is what you choose to perceive. No more, no less. The world, the false perception, does nothing to you. You only thought it did. Nor did you do anything to the world. So don't forget now, if the world isn't doing anything to you, then it also means you're not doing anything to anybody else. Hear that. If nobody's ultimately determining how you feel, and so your happiness, then don't let other people blame you for their unhappiness. Do not let other people blame you for their unhappiness, because their unhappiness is not being caused by you. See, we'll kind of accept that the other person not causing our unhappiness, and then we'll turn around and still let other people lay guilt trips on us about how they feel somehow being caused by what you are doing or not doing. So don't forget now, the world isn't doing anything to you, and you're not doing anything to the world. You were just mistaken about what it is. And he says that's how you release yourself from guilt and sickness, because guilt and sickness are the same thing. Guilt causes sickness. Sickness is a reflection of guilt. Sickness is any kind of non-right-mindedness or fear. So guilt comes before the pain. The guilt is causing the pain. Having some sense of guilt is what's causing the pain. It's feeling some level of guilt that's causing the sickness. Any kind of sickness or unhappiness is coming from an unconscious guilt. According to the Course in Miracles, all forms of pain, any form of pain that anybody's going through is coming from the guilt that they feel subconsciously. And then I said, okay, what is that guilt? What am I feeling guilty about? He said, basically, you're feeling guilty because you know you're lying. I went, boy, that's cold. He said, you think you're separate from God. You think you're alone. You think you're on your own. And when you lie, you feel guilty. And you know you're lying every time you say you're in this world and you don't have help and you don't have love and you don't have a source and you don't have a creator. He says we feel guilty because we know when we don't love ourselves, we're not treating ourselves right. We feel guilty because we know we're betraying ourselves by being in situations and circumstances and perceptions that don't give us any kind of peace. And he says you're feeling guilty because you think you're separate from your source. And so you punish yourself. And the easiest way to punish yourself is through having a non-right mind that creates situations and circumstances that cause you a lot of upset and pain. Mm-hmm. So you're in a world watching people punish themselves all the time, and you've decided that you don't want to punish yourself anymore, and so you're called the person that's beginning to awaken. That's all it means. I'm tired of suffering as hell. I want to have a good time now. I want to enjoy my life. I want to pardon me. But I'm in a place where everybody's punishing themselves, and all of a sudden you wake up and go, okay, I've punished myself enough now. I really want to have a good time. And they go, whoop, what? And because then you make the decision that you're not going to put guilt trips on people or let people put guilt trips on you, which means nobody around you is going to be able to control you anymore because they've been using anger and guilt to control you. And so it looks like you're selfish because you're not letting yourself be manipulated anymore. So they're going to call you selfish for not making your life about their happiness, even though nothing about their life is about yours. And so all of a sudden you go, I'm not playing this game anymore. And then everybody freak out and tell you you're selfish. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn how to not fall for that, right? Because guilt and sickness are the same thing. And so the Course says to accept this release, the insignificance of the body must be an acceptable idea. At some point, you've got to start believing that your mind is more significant than the body. That how you think is more significant than the body, the physical. He says, with this idea that the body is insignificant, pain will be forever gone, because with this idea that the body is insignificant, but what it means by insignificant is not the most important thing. And he says, with this idea goes all confusion about creation. Doesn't this follow necessity? Place cause and effect in their true sequence in one respect, and the learning will generalize and transform the world. What does that mean? It means that if my thoughts are creating the way that I'm feeling in this area, then my thoughts must be creating the way I feel in this area, and in this area, and in this area. In other words, it says when you place it correctly in one respect, he says the learning will generalize and transform the world, because you'll be using that same perception in every area of your life. He says the transfer value of one true idea has no end or limit. What does that mean? It means that if it's the truth, I can use it in every circumstance. That's if there's one exception in anything you tell yourself, it's not the truth. And that's how you can always tell the truth from illusion. If there's one exception, it's not the truth. The truth includes everything. It's never any exceptions to universal spiritual truth. So if you say there's one person on this earth that's outside of the idea that their thoughts are creating their experience, then you're not telling the truth about that idea. So if one person can be happy, you can be happy. If one person can have a loving relationship, you can have a loving relationship. If there's one person on this earth that can feel good, then you can feel good. There's nothing that's true that doesn't apply to everybody equally. That's good news.
Yeah.
I'm glad that my Creator loves me as much as my Creator loves you. I'm glad that if your prayer is answered, it makes me believe it's a possibility that mine could be answered. You see, so I see your good as a witness to the fact that I could have good, not something for me to envy. Like you're so special that I could never have it. So the Course in Miracles says, what's the final outcome of this lesson? The remembrance of God. You will remember love. You will remember your Creator. In the end, you're going to remember you are the most loved thing and supported thing you could ever possibly imagine. And the Course in Miracles says, so if you finally know that you are totally loved and you're totally innocent and you're totally happy, he says, then what does guilt and sickness and pain and disaster and all suffering mean to you now? Well, he says, well, for you, it doesn't have any purpose anymore. You got to the point that you said, there's no purpose in me being sick. There's no purpose in me being guilty. There's no purpose in me going through pain. There's no purpose in me going through disaster. There's no purpose for me to keep going through. There's no purpose in me keeping on going through what I've been putting myself through. He says, and as soon as there's no purpose in your mind to going through all that stuff, then it will be gone. So as soon as you're saying, there's no purpose in me suffering all the time, it will be gone.
Yeah.
Cause and effect, but replicate what? Creation.
Amen.
Seen in their proper perspective, my thoughts are determining my experience, cause and effect. And seen in their proper perspective. What is a proper perspective? Whenever you're reading the Course, it anticipates that you're not going to know what the hell it's saying. So all you have to do is keep reading forward instead of going backwards. it says without distortion. He says a proper perspective is what? A perspective without distortion. A proper perspective is a perspective without fear. So how do I know when I'm seeing something correctly? I have no fear. And so when I use that test all day long, it catches me from hurting myself and fooling myself. I go, Earl, you're not feeling good right now. You're not feeling peaceful right now. So that means there is nothing about your perception that is correct. And if you feel bad most of the day, you're wrong most of the day. That's all it means. But I'm upset. I've been depressed for 3 weeks. You've been seeing things incorrectly for 3 weeks. I've been depressed since I was 10 years old. You've been seeing the world incorrectly since you were 10 years old. The length of time you've been doing it does not affect the truth that you're wrong. If you're miserable, you're wrong. You're not seeing something about your life correct. I love that because it will stop you in your tracks. Plus, it'll feel good. It's like, oh man, I'm feeling bad right now, but that means I'm not seeing something correctly. That means there's another way to look at this. That means this might not be true. This means this depression I'm going through, it might not be about anything I really need to be depressed about. That's good news. I don't want to be right and miserable. I don't want to be right and miserable. I hope I'm wrong. So the Course is saying they reestablish heaven. What reestablishes heaven? The law of cause and effect. Because if I can decide to see it differently and then have a different experience, then that's replicating creation and that's reestablishing heaven, which is my joy,
Amen.
my love, my peace. Could we acknowledge ourselves to hear this much Holy Spirit? Woo! 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 That's worth listening to again right there. That's one of the so y'all make sure y'all never listen to that. Very key. Those who want to suffer, don't y'all listen to that no more. Okay, if you're out there and you want to suffer, don't you listen to this video no more. I tell you, all right? I order you not to if you want to be miserable.
We're going to rebel.
Y'all don't y'all be rebellious out there. I'm gonna suffer more, Earl. When I leave here, I'm gonna suffer even more. I don't want you to be right. So thank you for sharing with me. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, I would certainly be thankful and appreciate that from you. If you'd like to do it online, just go to earlpurdy.com. And you can make a financial expression of appreciation. I would really appreciate it as a full-time teacher of this material that I love. Did you need to hear this today?
Amen.
I'm telling you, I needed this so bad today. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Jesus Christ, I needed that. I had some stuff I had some use for. You know what I'm saying? I was getting some payoffs in some few areas. You know, really. You know. Mm-hmm. And if you want to have a full-time punishment, then just get in a relationship with somebody that don't love you. I just want to advise you that if you think you deserve full-time punishment, then you can have a relationship that you stay miserable in all the time. That would be fulfilling that need tremendously. And show them your gratitude. Thank them for giving you what you think you deserve. Woo, that's deep, isn't it? That's deep. Wow. So don't forget, I'm doing these classes on Facebook Live, and every Sunday at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, I do A Course in Miracles. Go to the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, and you can watch the live placement. And also, just go to www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live, Earl Purdy Live. That way, even if you're not a member of Facebook, you can still watch it, whether you're a member of Facebook or not. So you can still turn. And then if you were watching this and you want to support my teaching ministry and you feel there was some value in what you heard, please take a moment to share this on your timeline. You got right there. You can just click on share and share it. Let's get more people hearing this. Like we were saying today, that the more people that hear it, the quicker the healing happens for all of us. And there are a lot of people that Course in Miracles says every time we come together to focus in on the truth, there's somebody that all of a sudden they find themselves waking up and wanting the truth. Just how you started, like one day it just like you somehow or another got interested. That's because somebody else was doing it and it triggered you. So we don't know how many people that we triggered today, you know. So Ku Klux Klan, I'm a trigger. Y'all got it wrong. goodness. Okay. I'm available for one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions. I've been having some of the most incredible clarity sessions this year that have been amazing from what I've been hearing as well as what's been going on. I don't know how to break it to you, but there's nothing original about your problem. Absolutely nothing that you could bring to me that I could not answer it according to something the Course in Miracles teaches about it. You don't have to keep suffering. There are answers to what you're going through. So if you like to have a session, go to my website. It describes what I do and how I do it. And if you're open to astrology and numerology and other intuitive sciences, the Course in Miracles says that the Holy Spirit, the higher self, the higher power, uses everything you've learned as a way to heal you and save you. Okay? So if I have an interest in astrology or numerology or TVs, Spirit could use that to wake me up. So what I'm saying is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, where you are, you can be reached and healed through that. So you don't have to make some big, you want to, you can, but you don't have to make some big radical change in your outer world in order to heal. Spirit can use everything that's happening to you and everything you know right now to end your suffering. So I like that. I love that the things that are my talents and my joys and my hobbies, I don't have to go and drop those things because I'm being spiritual now. So I got to do something totally different.
That's right.
You know, I mean, that's the price we pay for having a totally unconditionally loving creator. The Course in Miracles says its term for God is the creator of perfection. I love that. You were created by the creator of perfection. C-O-P, creator of perfection. You being saved by a cop. A whole new perception of cop.
That's right.
I'm a cop. You're a cop. You are all creators of perfection. Okay. So one thing you heard today that you would like to share that had an impact on you. Any thought from anybody online or in the room?
Stop valuing the valueless.
Stop valuing the valueless. What did that mean to you, Matt?
Stop valuing the suffering that I experience.
Thank you. Stop valuing it. And what do you have any idea one of the things he said that we could say to be through with it once and for all? I have what? No more use for this. I have no more use for that. I don't have any more use for this. Anybody else?
C says, there is a perceived payoff for the suffering I'm going through. Not my favorite payday now that I'm aware of it. I get to decide the payoffs.
Yeah, I get to decide the payoffs. I love that. I love that. When will healing occurs? When I no longer see any value in pain. What the area that I'm going through pain in, there's a payoff that I'm getting that makes me think that keep going through this pain is a small price to pay for something I'm going to get of greater value. What will completely blow my world up as I know it, to realize that everything that's happened to me is coming from a decision in my mind and not from something from the outside. What about the physical stuff that I think I'm going to do, go to the doctor, go jogging, reading, whatever I think I'm going to do in the outer to heal it? What is the purpose of that? The special agent to give tangible form to the desire that I say that I have. What causes sickness? Does it come from guilt, the mind, decision of the mind, perception?
I like that you only need to change your own mind to change the world.
We waiting on you, Jason.
It's all you, Jason.
Yeah, Jason, you so special. You so special. You were the last rebellious child. And you look so innocent, too. Nobody would guess that you would be so rebellious. You know.
Truth has no exceptions.
Truth has no exceptions. Truth has no exceptions. I love that idea that love is given to all equally. You know, when most people, when they tell me they love me, I transpose it in my mind and go, oh, you just told me I'm very special to you. Because love would not be exclusive. There's no such thing as an exclusive love. There is exclusive specialness, but there isn't exclusive love. Anybody to tell you that you have to love only them is a person that's asking for fear.
Running,
They're not asking for love, they're asking for fear. You know, love is inclusive. Love is inclusive. Love is inclusive.
Marion says, I have no more use for this physical pain. And she's crying out, special agents, angels, love. I just need freedom.
That's right. That's what it is. You're talking about freedom. So what we could do for her is recognize her innocence at all times. That's all we have to do. That's the most important thing you can do for anybody is recognize that they're sinless and guiltless. They might make mistakes. But we have to let go. If the world that we are living in that's full of fear is based on the idea of guilt and sin, then it's obvious then that the happy world must be based on just the opposite. So your best friend is somebody that's remembering your innocence for you, and when you forget it,
That's
and
right.
reminding that you're sinless when you
That's
forget it. You know. Thank you, CJ, for narrating. That means a lot to me. That helps. I want everybody to feel like they're participating. Let's acknowledge CJ for doing narration every week. The narrator. I love it. I love you all. I appreciate y'all. And I will see you the next time I see you. I promise you. Let's give up some hugs, y'all.